But I'll just quickly tell you what I have to tell you. I think this is a very nice quote that I found, which is the future is already here, it's just not evenly distributed. And I think it's definitely not been distributed among the media and the advertising kinds, as Amit said. So it's something which is, I was recently in Los Angeles in a digital conference, and it was really fascinating to see speaker after speaker coming and talk about some amazing case studies of the kind of work they've done. And you really start thinking at that point that, where the hell are these ideas? Why are we not thinking them to begin with? So I think these are 4 mega trends that I've been talking about for years, and I fortunately it's not changing, but it just accelerates, just change. Go on. Anyway, am I audible at the back?
Yeah.
Okay. So there are 4 mega trends, which I think one of them is greater choice, greater control, fewer intermediaries, and that's something which is in everything that we do. We are now talking of Internet of Things, machine talking to machines, which means no intermediaries at all. Your refrigerator opening, ordering the food for you, and your living room deciding that there are 3 people in the room, so I need to change the temperature in whatever, because there's more body heat being generated, and so on and so forth. I think it's just basically a lot of negative chore, a lot of negative effort that we end up putting is kind of taken out of our lives with these machines. Information translucency, I think in spite of the fact that there is information available to everyone, we often find that I think that needs to be just put on once. It could have gone off. There is audience fragmentation, that's the third thing. Information translucency makes basically everyone's life very difficult, anybody who's doing business, because for us, for example, as retailers, one of the easiest things is for customers to come to our electronic store, take a demo, and then stand there and check out the prices on the net and order right there from the shop and walk out. So which means I have wasted time, my staff has wasted time behind taking the customer to the demo, and then we lost the sale anyway. There is audience fragmentation, so we obviously need to be really on top of our game if we really want to get that sale. Audience fragmentation, audiences are fragmenting everywhere, and more messages and less time. So I think, like Amit said, change is not a constant anymore, it's accelerating every day. Okay, media is at the center of everything that we do today. So I think all aspects of, if you look at, this is a picture made by a student, and really speaking, he's talking about all the stuff that is in his life, but there is media at the center of it all. And I think the role of media has changed dramatically over the past few years through all of the changes that we spoke about. I think in the past, media was the primary source for entertaining and informing you. And there was, in spite of the fact there were thousands and thousands of media owners, it was still an oligopoly. It was still few people deciding what the country was thinking. And everybody else among us was basically media consumer. We just consumed what was coming our way. And today I think self-expression is really the new form of entertainment for people. So if you just look at, everybody is finding the selfie generation that we talk of today. Now I think that look at the number of devices. I wish I could I just recently bought a selfie stick where you put your phone and you can take a selfie from distance. Just because I found the concept very fascinating. But just, that's exactly what I bought. And you can really extend it for 10 feet and whatever, you can take a selfie. It's got a Bluetooth, this thing at the handle. Which is, so you sensor at the handle, so you put the phone there and click from here. It's fascinating, and just the way people want to. So all of us are now media owners. Everybody is there is no media, it's media anarchy, not an oligopoly anymore. Everyone is a media owner. And what does that do to the media consumer? The consumer today is half informed. He gets one bit of information that's enough for him. He'll make a whole story around it. He'll publish it. He'll go online and publish it very soon. Extremely impatient. There is absolutely no time. You get a story, you need to share it now, and all your friends, and we see some of this leading to positive and negative change. So I'll talk about some of that. Highly opinionated. I think this is one key. So throughout this 2014 election, one of the most fascinating things of this election, apart from of course the way I think the Modi ran the entire campaign and the way he steered it, the other fascinating story for me was what was being called the media trolls. The Hindu media trolls on one side and AAP-tards on the other end, and the kind of fight that they were having in media. It was really a fascinating aspect of the very opinionated people, had their opinions and they stood by them. and very loud. So you have an opinion, you also have to express it. They are very open and very keen to express it, and it gives them a lot of power to become judge, jury, and executioner. Unfortunately, Arnab is not the only one who does that now. The whole country can do it. So he's now not in that minority of one anymore. Everyone, all of us, are capable of doing that. And that obviously there are advantages to that. The speed with which news can spread now is so. I think today this has got both the speed and the spread of news is really fast. I remember one day in 1995 when someone came up and said Ganeshji's Murthy is drinking milk today, and I remember the whole country and my aunt from Africa calling me up, and all over the world suddenly this news spread. This was before the era of Google. Google was not even born then. This was 1995. Okay, and that it happened, and then it was news. That something like this happened today fascinated one entire community, and the world didn't know how it happened. And how did the news spread? And how did people in across the world come to know and try to do the same thing at the same time and had stories to share about it? And it was fascinating. Just imagine something like that happening today. So can you imagine what will happen on Facebook and Twitter if something like this, if some phenomenon like this actually came forward today? And there are of course positives and negatives. So there is, if you remember, the mad cow disease was something which, so obviously even I believe that there is some sort of conspiracy which to sell pharmaceutical companies to sell their drugs will invent these diseases. So there was mad cow disease first, and then there was avian flu, and now the Ebola virus. The thing between the three of them I find is that mad cow disease, I don't think anyone even came to know. Now you can argue that we are not a beef eating nation, so maybe it didn't touch us in that sense. Bird flu is something that we were, we became aware over a period of time. By then the vaccines were already found, and so it didn't really matter. But Ebola virus, I think the whole of India is on kind of attention, and that is because we are living in a very hyper connected age. Everyone seems to know about Ebola, and I have some really very nice and dumb cousins who are not really interested. They're just interested in having a good time, and I talk to them very often to just figure out what are the. And they live in small towns, and they're very happy with their lives. They don't care. Even they've heard of Ebola virus. So they were also asking me, "Why kya hone wala is?" It's a. I hope we don't have to worry about this. And so that is the world. And if you remember the Azad Maidan riots, this was through morph videos, and somebody just decided to forward something which happened in another country and pass it off as something that happened in Assam, and what it led to. There are, of course, we see images of Chinese army forming a human bridge for people to cross over, and we hear that this is something that happened in Uttarakhand. So people, or when the MH31 crashed, the Malaysian airline plane crashed, there were lots of videos being ported, most of them from Hollywood movies, saying this is the last minute of their airline, and there's a exclusive footage that one guy, somebody shot it from a cell phone, and you suddenly see that. So there are advantages and disadvantages to this, really fascinating. And I would just like to leave you with that one thought, that all of us have today the power of really, and I think Amit talked about this, that the whole world actually comes to you through your device. So you'll be consuming not just media, the stuff that you buy, the stuff that you do, the things that you connect with, the people that you connect with, everything happens through this one device. It gives us a tremendous power, but with that power also comes the responsibility that we need to kind of ensure that. And we are a civilization just because we are a civilization that is not really very big on history. So history has now been our strong suit. We don't really, because we believe in cyclical nature of things, and we don't really record things. Whereas Westerners have a fascination for history. And I'm reading currently a book on history of television. I also heard from Amit just now that he's putting together a history of Indian media, 5,000 years, and it's so much information that he can't put it in a book, so I'll make it into open source and I'll make it available to. I'll really look forward to that. But I think with this great power that we have, I think also is probably a great responsibility that we'll have to look at. And I think that's the thought I would like to leave you with. Thank you.